Welcome everyone. Today we are going to discuss about India's oil plan and the threats and sanctions that India is surviving from America and European countries and how it is impacting India's import of Russian oil. We are going to discuss all of this in today's video. So let us start. Why it matters for India. India currently imports around 35 to 38% of its crude oil from Russia. So it is a huge amount that India is importing the crude oil from Russia, and it is making it the country's largest oil supplier in 2025. In 2025, Russia was India's largest oil supplier. New US and EU secondary sanctions targeting Russian oil producers and transport vessels could severely disrupt this supply or eliminate discounted pricing, forcing a re evaluation of India's sourcing strategy. So, the sanctions that are put on that are put on Russian oil producers from US and EU, that is European Union, it is going to severely disrupt the supply of Russian oils to India, or even it can eliminate the discounted pricing that India was getting from Russia on its crude oil. So India imports a huge amount of crude oil, that is 35 to 38% from Russia, making it India's largest oil supplier in 2025. According to Oil Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, global prices could spike to 130 to $140 per barrel if Russian oil is removed from the market. So the prices are going to spike if Russian oil is removed from the market. It is not a good news for India as well. What is India's strategy and how it is adapting to the sanctions and threat by the West countries? First is India is diversifying crude suppliers. Second, India has expanded its oil import network from 27 to over 40 countries, including new sources like Guyana, Brazil, Canada, and Latin America. Third, it is increasing reliance on traditional suppliers such as Saudi Arabia and Iraq, while also tapping into suppliers from Africa and Atlantic basin, for example, Colombia and Argentina. So the overall thing for India is that to diversify its crude suppliers, which has been done as India's oil import network has increased from 27 to over 40 countries all over the world, including new sources like Brazil, Canada, Latin America, and Guyana. And it is increasing its dependence on traditional suppliers such as Saudi Arabia and Iraq, while also tapping into suppliers from Africa as well as the Atlantic basin countries. While replacing Russian barrels seems viable, imported alternatives may cost 4 to $5 more per barrel. So importing the alternative oil may cost more for India than importing Russian crude oil, which India got at discounted price. Spot market and spot tenders are also happening. State refiners like BPCL, HPCL, IOCL are actively procuring oil on the spot market, sourcing cargoes globally to replace Russian supplies quickly. Stepping up domestic production. The government is investing in domestic exploration, upstream development, and increasing strategic petroleum reserves to cushion shocks. So, the government is also tapping into the domestic crude oil sources so that domestic production can help India back up the sanctions and threats that are uh, given from the West countries. Leveraging fuel storage, India maintains around 64.5 days of refinery crude capacity, plus an additional 9.5 days via strategic reserves, giving approximately 74 days buffer in case of disruptions. So, India maintains a 64.5 days of refinery crude capacity, plus additional 9 days via strategic reserve, giving approximately 74 days of buffer in case there is any kind of disruptions happening in crude oil. What are the risks ahead for India? The first one is higher oil prices and freight cost may raise inflation and strain GDP growth. A $10 rise per barrel could add 0.4% to headline inflation. So the rise in oil prices and freight cost may increase inflation. Reduced discount margin. The price gap for Russian Ural crude has shrunk significantly from approximately $12 discount in 2023 down to approximately $3 to $4 recently, cutting into refinement viability. So the discounts are increasingly decreasing for India, which is a risk ahead. Refiner constraints. Companies like Reliance and Naira could face trouble complying with sanctions while using Russian origin barrels, especially for export to fuel markets like EU. What is the takeaway of this discussion? India has proactively prepared for possible disruption of Russian crude by diversifying suppliers, utilizing global spot markets, bolstering reserves. While supply continuity appears assured, India may face higher costs, tighter refining margins, inflationary risk if Russian volumes diminish or sanctions intensify. The government is well positioned, but vigilance is the key. That's all for today. Subscribe to my channel for more such videos on important topics for civil service examinations. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.